Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. I can see your chat box. I can see you guys are coming from different part of the world. Um, we're just gonna start in a bit. So welcome to our live meeting. And my name is Hong Wei, Service Manager for Gloden, and I will be your speaker for today. And in particular, today we'll be just talking about our BIM for MEPQS, where we're gonna specifically dive into how to achieve high efficiency and accurate quantity takeoff through our BIM-based software. So joining here with me is Mr. Frank as well. And we're just gonna let Mr. Frank and just give us some opening remarks. All right. I think Frank has some technical issue with that audio. So let me just briefly introduce about Frank. Frank is basically our business development director for Gloden. So initially he's going to do some opening remarks, but due to him in Beijing, maybe there are some audio issues. So I'll just proceed with the meeting. Okay. So before I go into the meetings, let us have a look at this short video clip about Gloden. Okay.
Over time, the AEC industry has gone through rapid changes and innovations to face ever-evolving new challenges. Digital transformation in the AEC industry necessitates the use of 3D visualization to handle more complex construction projects. The lack of digital solutions will lead to costly and time-consuming errors related to quantity takeoff, drawing interpretation, and design coordination. These lead to poor project accuracy, low productivity, and delays, which result in cost overruns and compromise in building quality. But all of this can easily be avoided. Introducing Gloden Cubicles 5D BIM Digital Cost Management Solution. It brings the power of advanced tools, 3D capabilities, cost management, and other digital solutions to developers, contractors, subcontractors, and consultants. Cubicles TME 5D BIM Quantity Takeoff for mechanical and electrical. Current industry practices pose a huge challenge for experts looking to generate accurate MEP quantity reports, which could cause negative impact on project efficiency. But this issue doesn't have to be the norm. With TME, users can digitally calculate MEP quantities with comprehensive features. Equipped with incredible visualization tools, precise identification methods, and built-in standard calculation rules, TME is more than able to elevate your work experience and efficiency. Gloden Cubicles' advanced digital solutions have tremendously helped AEC firms to accelerate their efforts towards the digital transformation to achieve maximum efficiency and accuracy. Gloden Cubicles 5D BIM Digital Cost Management Solution has been a cornerstone of the construction industry and provides complete support to users throughout the project lifecycle. Organizations from around the world choose us as their partner to make their cost management and team collaborations smoother than ever. Simply by using Gloden Cubicles 5D BIM Digital Cost Management Solution. Gloden Cubicles, the #1 trusted 5D BIM digital cost estimation solution in Asia. Connect with us today.
All right. Okay. So for today's meeting, we'll just be going through the following content just to make sure that everyone knows what's the meeting is going to be about. So number one, we will have the introduction to 5D BIM from Gloden. Then afterwards, we will proceed to a discipline overview of our 5D BIM software for MEP, which is known as TMEC. And following that, we will present some scenarios that most MEP quantity surveyor may face and how the software itself can help in each of these scenarios. And lastly, we will have a look at some of the client projects model that is drawn in TMEC. So before we go into the content itself, just want to make sure everyone is okay with it because just now probably some new participants just joined in. So never mind, we still haven't actually started. So we're just going to formally start now, all right? Okay. So in the first part, we have introduction with the 5D BIM from Gloden. So to formally introduce this to you, Gloden Cubicles is a 5D BIM digital cost management solution like what we have shown you in the video earlier. Since it is related to cost management to the project, The main users for this would be the QS, quantity surveyor, cost manager, estimator, and whether you are from consultant, contractor, or even developers, this would be relevant to you. So in Cubicles, it consists of 4 independent software that is unique in its own function. So starting from the left, we have our Cubicles TASC. This is the beam-based quantity takeoff for our architecture and structural works. So your concrete, your formwork, your finishes will be taken off in this software. Then we have the Cubicles TME. This will be the beam-based software for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing works. And following that, there's Cubicles TRBC. So this is the taking off for reinforcement bar. And lastly, we have our Cubicles TBQC, which is a beam-based build quantities and costing. So this is software where we would do the preparation of bills of quantities, and usually is done by the consultants or maybe the contractors. So before I jump in details about today's main character, which is TMEC, let me just allow me to explain the logic of our Cubicles software, okay? So the logic of BIM is the ability to interoperate between process and information. So if you're not familiar with that, that's what BIM essentially is. So based on this flow diagram, I'll just give you an example how these software works together. So imagine if you have completed your concrete and formwork for a model in TAS. So these completed models is an information. So this information can be then opened in TRB, which is our taking off a reinforcement bar. Since the concrete and formwork and the models are generated, so when I'm in TRB, I will just need to calculate the reinforcement bar only. As for TME, we can also do the modeling and taking off inside the software. And after we have completed all of the necessary taking off from our TAS, TRB, and TME, it can be combined into one single model, consists of the quantities for architectural, structural, and reinforcement bar. So lastly, these quantities can be linked into our TBQ to do our bills of quantities and do our costing, therefore forming a full cycle. And that's pretty much what a 5D BIM software, a BIM-based software is capable in doing. So understand that most of our participants and friends from here are from the doing the MEP QS. So previously in the in the Zoom registration link, I believe that I've asked a question on what are the current taking off methods that you are currently adopting. So based on the data that we receive, actually we can kind of sums up that the traditional method and the 2D method taking off is still taking precedent, whereas a small amount of percentage, coming up to 12%, is using the 5D BIM Cubicles. Some of it is actually some of our existing users has been using TME for quite some time. Now, understand that due to the drawings informations for MEP projects is not as sufficient as compared to the building works. So therefore, there isn't really any software out there that can actually help MEP QS to achieve that. Therefore, we have this discrepancy or difference in these data that we receive. So I'm just going to illustrate on each of these methods much clearer, okay? So let's look at this comparison tab between the traditional method, 2D based software, as well as 5D BIM Cubicles. So in traditional method, which some of you may still be adopting, you will need to print out the drawing and then proceed to read the drawing. Then afterwards, use a scale ruler to measure the length, which only then tabulate into Excel or maybe your own software or maybe your own methods of taking off. Then you have to create the formula to calculate the quantities in order to generate the report from Excel, right? So a better version of traditional would be 2D. I believe some of you may be using the Cossack, maybe Candy, or even Plain Swift. So these software are all considered the 2D taking off software. In 2D software, we will need to import the drawing, right? Import the drawing and measure the length in the software or maybe the area. But in certain case, you will still need to create the formula and deductions in Excel to get the quantities. And because it's a 2D software, it is not able to generate a 3D model out, which can help in visualization. So a much better version, which is our 5D BIM Cubicles software. So when using 5D BIM software, the process will be much seamless and efficient. So after you have imported the drawing, there's a function that is called an auto-identify that can generate the models within seconds, including the quantities. So the quantities will be calculated based on the margin rule in the software. So everything will be much faster and much accurate. So later on, this will be illustrated. But this comparison tab is to illustrate on where 5D BIM stands when compared to other takeoff methods. So by now, I hope you have a better idea of what Cubicles is and what a BIM-based software is in terms of the working methods and the benefits. So up till now, I just want to have a quick chat with all of you. Are you guys understanding this? Is it all right for you guys in terms of information? Is it too much? Or maybe do you need me to slow down? All good, right? All clear? Okay, I'm getting all clear from our side. Anit, fine. All good. Okay, I'll proceed now then. Okay, then I'll proceed to the next chapter, okay? All right. So in this next part, we will jump into our 5D BIM software for MEP, also known as TMEC, which, I mean, we have shown you earlier in the video, right? Okay, so what is TMEC? As mentioned before, TMEC is a quantity taking out software for MEP works. So with the comparison tab that I've shown you earlier, what's good about TMEC? It is a 5D BIM solution software, which means it is able to generate the quantities rapidly. It will also help to cross-check the quantities much more efficiently by identifying the models that you drawn in the drawing. And in overall, it is designed to mainly enhance your quantity taking off experience. So in TMEC, we have few traits or services that are available when it comes to the taking off, which are the ACMV, which is known as air conditioning and mechanical ventilation. We also have electrical works and also plumbing and sanitary. So aside from these three traits in MEP, some of you may be saying that, hey, there's still fireworks and maybe the ELV as well. So for those that has used before our Cubicles TME software, it is capable in taking off for fireworks and ELV, which is known as extra low voltage. However, TMEC is a brand new software, which is also the successor of TME. So for fire and ELV, it is currently under development. So in order to enhance the taking off experience better, so it's still currently development. But fortunately, these two modules will be planned to release by end of this year. So do stay tuned for that, as we may conduct another webinar event or live meeting to further discuss on these two modules, okay? All right, so for the past 15 minutes, maybe I've been talking about how good 5D BIM is or how good TMEC is. So some of you may be questioning, hey, Hongwei, you only been talking about the benefits. We want to see the actual application. So in this part, allow me to just translate what I said earlier into actual usage by showing you some scenarios and how TMEC could help in each of these scenarios, all right? So in the first scenario will be quantity taking off for numerated quantities. So numerated quantities is commonly calculated across all trades, whether be it electrical, ACMV, or plumbing. So if you were to use the manual method, there will be risk in miscount quantities, especially dealing with big scale project, which also means more time will be consumed to complete the taking off, right? Aside from that, we also need to consider the additional resources spent on printing as well. So to really illustrate these challenges, this is an example of an electrical drawing, okay? So in this drawing, there are a few items that needs to be calculated in numbers. We have the lighting features, fan points, socket outlets, switches, which is all calculated in numbers. Same goes to our ACMV as well. We have our thermostat, our dampers, air grills, diffuser, and etc. as well. What about our plumbing and sanitary? Same thing as well. There are a lot of things that need to be calculated in numbers. We have our water closet, sinks, showers, and valves. So let us take a look at how TMEC is able to help or improve the quantity taking off process in these situations. Well, in TMEC, we have this device identification function to help us identify legends in the layout drawing. For example, I'm identifying these lighting features. And just a few clicks, the software will be able to identify the total numbers, which come up to 267 numbers. What about AC and V? Same thing as well. In this case, I'll just identify the A wheels as an example. So, and again, we just need to use the device function over here, identify the A wheels in the drawing. And once we click Find All, the software will identify all of the A wheels and comes up to a total number of 212 numbers. And finally, what about plumbing and drawings? So in plumbing and sanitary, we're just going to use this sitting toilet or water closet, for example. So similarly, using the same function as well, we just need to identify the water closet and click on Find All. And just like that, all of the identified water closet will be totaled up to 9. And the quantities will also be calculated as well. So with these functions in TMEC, it is able to speed up the taking off process when dealing with numeric quantities. And this is specifically better when you are dealing with big scale project, right? So in our second scenario, let us take a look at some of the challenges faced while doing quantities taking off for the electrical works. So in some cases, I believe most of us may face this situation before, where we receive multiple drawings that is split from a big drawing. So we have a big drawing, maybe a few acre, and because of the reading drawing process, we need to be easier. So they will tend to split it into few different sections. So when we receive in hard copy, it will be harder to compile it all together because everything is split so big, right? And aside from that, the cross-floor cabling works is commonly calculated as well when there are multiple floors involved. So these vertical lengths may be difficult to calculate at time, and they are usually very time-consuming. And not only that, we have a lot of wires or cables in the drawing. We may have a hard time checking and tracing each of these softwares, each of these wires, so sorry. So overall, the taking off process can be very tedious and time-consuming. So I'm just going to stop for a while and just read the questions a bit. The questions I will later on answer during the Q&A session. Would that be all right? So if you have any questions, maybe you can leave it in the chat box and I'll get back to you and try to answer you during the Q&A session. Would that be all right with you guys? If it's okay, maybe just say, all right. Okay, so I'll just continue first. So in this situation, how would our TMEC help or enhance the taking off process for our electrical works? So in TMEC, we have drawing management functions to help us adjust our drawings before doing quantity taking off. So here we have some tools to help us remove any unneeded lines in the drawing. And with the help of a moving tool, we can actually merge two parts of a drawing together by moving the second part and just connecting the corresponding axis, which is axis H. And there you go, the whole drawing will be formed into one big picture. So aside from that, we also have the show or hide layer function to help with simple wiring or cable estimation. So you can see this drawing, there's too much information. So we can actually just show the wiring only and hide the remaining things that are not necessary. So with that, we can just clearly look at the wires. And by using the single line function, we can quickly calculate the wires quantities. And just like that, so the entities has been created. And if you go to quantity and just view the total quantities for this wiring, just give the software a little bit second. And you can see at the bottom here, the total wire quantities will be calculated over here. And finally, let us take a look at how cross-floor cabling work is done in TMEC. So first, let us construct a cable trunk that rises from the first floor to the second floor. And then connect it to a distribution box from there. Just like that. And if you were to view it in 3D, you can see the cable trunk is connecting the distribution box across the first and second floor. And after that, we can just proceed to insert the cables or wires inside the trunking by using the cable tray wiring function. Just a few clicks onto the trunking, and you can see that the wires and the cables are already laid accordingly. Just like that. So once again, the whole taking off process is extremely fast and efficient. Okay. So in the third scenario, we'll look at the challenges faced when it comes to the quantity taking off for ACMV. All right. So in ACMV, oftentimes we may find it hard to calculate the duct fittings. All right. Reason being, maybe there are too much duct fittings and may be very hard to identify in the drawings. Also, it may be very time consuming to calculate ducting work if there are too many sizes. And also, we may need to consider the installation areas as well, if there are any installation used. So in these three cases, how does TMEC help in this kind of situation? So in TMEC, we have a duct system identifier function, which helps us to identify ducting lengths. All we need to do is just pick on the two parent duct lines and the label. I'll just do it again, just like that. And after confirming its attribute, the duct line will be drawn. It will be identified. And for the air duct fittings, by using the air duct fittings identifications, just one click and you can see all of the fittings will be generated. And let us take a look at 3D. And let's assume that these two vertical air ducts over here, that there's installation area that we need to calculate. So what we need to do is just modify the attribute over here and just input in the ducting installation. And we can quickly view these installation quantities by using the quantity tool. So right now the quantities has been calculated. And if we were to view in quantity on this vertical air ducts, and if you were to pay attention over here, you can see that the installation area of these two air ducts are calculated over here already, just like that. So up till now, you can really tell that the whole process of taking off will be much faster if you were to do it as compared to do it manually, right? So moving to the fourth scenario, okay? So we're just gonna move into plumbing and sanitary. So once again, I want to do a quick check. Up to now, is everything all right for you guys? Is everyone feeling that is too fast or maybe too slow? Okay, I can see a green light from Osawa saying doing very well. Okay, what about others? Others, are you okay? Perfect speed. Okay, thank you, Lasida. So far, great. Thank you, Anit. Well, thank you, Wissam. All good. Thank you, Ashad. Perfect. All right. Okay, I'll just move to the fourth scenario right now, okay, where we're going to talk about the plumbing and sanitary, all right? So in the fourth scenario, there are some challenges we face while doing the plumbing and sanitary taking off as well. So there are also cross-floor piping can be tedious or difficult at times, especially if there are many risers used. So this is also similar to other trades if cross-floor works are required. Not only that, pipe elevation may change frequently in a building as well. So this happens because of the different equipment height. The pipe elevation will need to be adjusted to fit the respective equipment height. So in this kind of situation, how can TMEC actually help? So in this example, I will draw some pipes connecting to different sanitary equipment. So here we'll be connecting to a wash basin and a shower head. I'm just going to connect a few more to the water closet as well. And if you were to view it in 3D, just like that, we can notice that there are a vertical pipe connecting to these equipment. So all these pipe actually connect to the sanitary equipment using their corresponding height. For example, for the water closet, it will be 0.38 meter. For the wash basin, it will be 0.8 meters. As for the shower head, it will be 2 meters. And this applies to all other equipment as well. We can actually adjust their elevation height in their corresponding attribute. And when we are drawing the pipe, the software will automatically connect the vertical pipe to the equipment, and the height will be adjusted accordingly based on the attribute that we insert. So we will only need to adjust the height once, and whenever we draw the pipe connecting to these equipments, the vertical pipe will be automatically generated. So we don't need to worry about that. So now we have cleared most of the scenarios that is related to our taking off process, which is our ACMV, our electrical works, and our plumbing and sanitary. So in this part or in this scenario, we're just gonna talk more about the drawing demarcation or the classification of quantities according to different region. So sometimes we might need to demarcate drawings into different regions and separate out the quantities accordingly. Maybe it's instructed by your client or your boss. So take, for example, in this layout drawing, we might need to split it into construction zones, maybe progress claim, construction stage, or even typical rooms. So if we were to done this manually, we might need to extract the quantities manually. This can be quite error prone, since we need to trace back how it is calculated in the first place. And if we cannot trace back, then we will need to recalculate the quantities, which can be extremely time consuming. I believe maybe some of you have experienced this before, you know, to actually calculate everything again, just to split into different zones. If you're using manual takeoff, it will be extremely hard. So in this kind of scenario, how would TMEC help? So in TMEC, we have a defined region function where we can set up few different regions in a drawing area. So in this case, we shall create two different zones, namely zone 1 and zone 2. Over here, we can also change the color of the zone for better representation as well. And after we have set up the zones, we can also adjust the boundaries using the green box over here, depending on how big or how small you want it to be, or depending on the demarcation area. And after that, we just proceed to generate our quantities. And if you were to view the quantities over here, you can see that the quantities have been separated into different regions that we have just set up earlier, which is zone 1 and zone 2. Not only that, if you were to double click on these quantities, it will bring us to the drawing area where the quantity is located at. So we can check back where the models are drawn and whether it is drawn correctly or not. Just like that. So I can see that some of you may actually asking on the drawing file. So I believe Frank has also answered that. So the file types that the software support, you can actually import CAD file, which is DWG, vector PDF file, or even scan PDF drawings as shown here in this slide. So in this last scenario, maybe more often I would say, we might receive scanned drawing files, especially during the early stages such as tendering drawing. So in this case, how do we deal with the quantity taking off while using this scanned drawings? Is it possible to actually do it in the software? So to give you an example, I have a scanned PDF drawing over here. So let's say I just want to calculate our numeric quantities. We're just going to take this socket, for example, this VFCU. So in TMEC, there's a scan device function, which is specifically designed for scan drawing files. We just need to identify the legend first, just like that. After we identify the legend, we can actually edit the legend using the eraser tool over here by removing any unwanted lines, as you can see. So after that, once we have removed that, we can proceed to identify the tags. In this case, it will be VFCU. And after you have picked both, you can click on Find All. So now the software will actually identify all of the legends in the drawing that meet the same condition as we have set. So this will definitely take some time, but not very long, as the scan, because it's scan drawing files. So the software will need some time to actually scan through the whole drawing to identify these legends. But after the software has identified it, these tables will be generated out. So the software is actually very smart when it comes to scan PDF drawing files, as it will categorize into percentage of the similarity. We can see that 60 to 70%, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, and up to 90 to 100%. So not only that, we can also check through each of this and decide to select or not to select it as part of our quantities, just like that. Also, we can also do the batch selection. We can also batch select it, whether we want to select or unselect it. And if you click on these identify legends, it will actually bring us into the drawings for us to see it better. So if everything checks out and we click identify, the quantities will be identified and it's total 31, and it will be highlighted in yellow, just like that. So that kind of sums up the potential and function that the TMEC can provide to your day-to-day operation or even to your quantity taking off process. So that concludes some of the values provided in certain scenarios. I would say maybe scenarios that are much common. So in this part, I would just kind of show you some of the project models that's been completed by our existing clients, our past clients, on each of these traits and how it looks like when it's done in TMEC. Because as I mentioned before, it's a 5D BIM software, so it is capable in generating the models as well. So this is just to illustrate to you how does it look like on each services. So this is an example of ACMV after it is completed, whereas this was a plumbing and sanitary. So this is probably, if I remember correctly, this is a client from Singapore on the probably a few floors project, different story project for the ACMV part. And this is more ACMV example. He also has some completed lighting models done in electrical works as well. So this is just to kind of show you how it looks like when you complete the modeling in TMEC. As compared to building works, where you can see the entire model, including the doors, the walls, the windows, MEP may be less aesthetic, you know, since these are the only things that we'll be able to see in the model. So as compared to a building, maybe you not be able to, in a way, it's not as beautiful as a building if it's a view in 3D, but still, you know, TMEC is able to generate a 3D model, which is a lot more better, and it helps in terms of the visualization process. This is a lot more better as compared to your 2D based software or even your traditional method taking off. So with that, I conclude the part on the TMEC. And I really hope that everyone here has gained some insights about our MEP taking off software, which is TMEC, and what the software has to offer to your day-to-day operation. So maybe you can think back to the previous scenarios that I've shown you earlier and just think back, how can it actually help to your projects in terms of the quantity taker process? Maybe it can be faster, it can be more accurate, it can be, you can get more projects so that the work efficiency has increased. So allow me now for this part, the software as a service, I will just pass it to Frank, where he will talk more about software as a service, as well as the promotional side of Cubicles. So I can see there are some questions from Taiwo as well.
Thanks, Wei.
Yes.
Yeah, I tested my audio system. Am I clear?
Yes, extremely clear. We are very clear,
Okay.
Frank. So welcome back, Frank. You know, earlier he was not able to do opening remarks, but we are happy to, you know, get him back over here. So Frank, maybe you can just do the software as a service part.
Okay, thank you. I'm really glad to see a lot of our old friends is here with some people. And welcome. Hongwei, could you allow me to share my screen?
Oh, sure. Sorry about that. Okay.
Okay. First of all, thanks, Hongwei, for your presentation. And we know that SaaS is a popular conception today, especially for the software industry. So in my mind, the SaaS, the software as a service, is not only the software license and also the delivery mode in which maybe the software is licensed based on subscription basis. It should be also reshapes our relationship between the software providers and our users. So this is very important. So in my mind, is choosing the right and suitable 5D BIM solution for your team is really your responsibility. And once you choose Cubicles, maybe as the default 5D BIM software for your team, then it will be our responsibility to make sure your team can master software, can really enjoy the benefits of the 5D BIM. So first of all, let's check some comments from our current users of TMEC. Then after that, we will introduce a little bit about some of our service. Then after that, there will be the QA session. So during the QA session, really welcome all your questions.
At Glodon, we drive the digital transformation of the construction
Hello?
Frank, the video seems to be paused.
Yeah, I also find that.
Industry with BIM
Okay, all good.
cost management solutions. Across 80 global offices, empowering more than 310,000 global clients with all their BIM construction needs. Our team around the world are empowered with local insights and aim to seamlessly connect our clients' data through our integrated platform, the Cubicles TMEC. Cubicles TMEC solutions has been adopted by many leading MEP industry leaders. They choose us because they trust us to drive their digital transformation. Cubicles TMEC solutions aim to improve project accuracy, project quality, and overall productivity. Let's hear what our industry friends would like to share with us.
TMEC solution we started using October 2022, and we find that it's much more easy to use. Okay, for traditional method, because we need to print out drawing, also paper costly, first thing, and also time taking out. And also, the main factor is, I think, it's a skill. Sometimes we may not get the exact skill, so that we are using factors, so the accuracy is not there. And also, time consuming a lot. Okay, for this TMEC solution, first thing, we don't have to print out drawings. We can straight away insert the drawing and we can start to do our work. And this TMEC, there is a lot of new features that we can use, such like, for ACMB tab, they have additional like air grill, damper, panel box and silencers, and the pipe accessories. I find that this one will save out a lot of our time and more efficient. There's one function is insert drawings, because that will help us, like we want to have a lot of drawings, like maybe part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, then we can insert drawing all in one window environment. Okay, I want to add one more feature is the define region. I find it is very useful to us. That time we did have a discussion with the R&D team, and they have listened to us for this function, and finally they have put into this new TMEC solution. This one will help us a lot when we need to size, like doing design and build, which is we don't have any ACMB layout design. We have to base on the room. We need to size up the area, and then we get a capacity so that we can have our aircon design work out. So this is very useful. TMEC help us to improve in BQ taking, more productivity and more efficient and more accurate.
Okay. In fact, just like our survey we have done during the registration of this event, more than 10% of the registrations already adopted Cubicles and our users. In fact, this is a quite good change in my mind, from traditional way to the BIM way. This is a trend that we cannot stop. But as the user, we should always remind ourselves, the software is just a tool that can support our daily jobs, our daily works. So we are the main players. And the practice can make the skills. So for the practice and for learning the software, we provide a lot of access to our service. For example, the first one is e-learning. So when you open Cubicles software, you can find this e-learning portal. And during the e-learning, you can find the latest training courses, the update functions, the videos. So you can check the videos and learn by yourself, always update knowledge and skills. The second one is a Gloden e-community. So if you have any technical issues during the usage of software, you can drop the questions here. If maybe sometimes it's not easy to if you cannot find our service staff, you can do this way. Also can get quickly reply of your questions. Maybe you can find similar answers here. And another important platform is our online training platform. So not only for the learning of software, we divide it into 3 parts. The first part is self-learning period, maybe for 1 week, and to be familiar with software basic operations. And after that, it is our one-to-one training program. Then after that, it is some guidance for the project. So for the online self-learning platform, you not only can have access to our training courses, but also we can support you with your capability certification. And after that, we also have the training program. Of course, during the pandemic, a lot of markets, we only can provide the online training. But we also have the branches team and also local partners. We have our local reselling and service partners in more than 20 countries. So you can find our local service team around you easily. Here are some workshops and training programs for your information. So just in summary, so we provide a lot of online learning platform, and also our Gloden team, and together with our local partners, we can ensure our service to your team. Besides that, Gloden, we also provide some free tools for our users for quality service. We know we are dealing a lot of drawings, we are dealing a lot of work orders. So these 3 free tools will be provided. The first one is RVT viewer, so we can view the Revit modeling. The second one is most different to compare the difference 2D or 2 drawings before the change and after the change. The third is the PDF converter. Maybe you will see, okay, I can find a lot of PDF converter in the market, also free. But this one is a little different because we know that we receive a lot of tender documents. And in the tender documents, there is some scanned Excel. So we can convert the scanned Excel into the Excel format exactly. So that is not easy to find this kind of solution in the market. Because today this webinar mainly for TMEC, for the MEP 5D BIM, quality takeoff. So we also have a special promotion for our audience today. That means 20% discount for the 3-year subscription plan. And for our team, if we can buy 3 licenses, then get 1 license free. So this promotion also based on a 3-year subscription plan, because we want to have a long-term relationship with our users, not just a rush decision, a short period, because we are so confident with our software and service. And the promotion deadline is 31 July, end of this month. And also welcome to register our next webinar. So our next webinar is how Gloden Cubicles can simplify your progress claim submission, mainly focus on the construction stage. And the main software we introduce will be Cubicles TSC and Cubicles TBQC, and also the collaboration between these two softwares. So the webinar date will be 20th July. Hongwei, could you share this registration link?
Yes, I'll definitely share the link to all of you participants. No worries. Maybe you can look at the chat box later, all right?
Yeah. And welcome to get in touch with us, because we have a lot of branches, and not only branches, we also have local partners. So you can drop us email for the product demo meeting to your team for the trial license. Now we come to the last session, is the Q&A session. And also we welcome your feedback. So you can scan this QR code and give us some feedbacks. And of course, for today, for all audience joining our meeting, we will send you exclusive 2 months free trial license for TMEC. And also we will provide you some self-learning videos. So you can check your software, align with the videos, and to prove the capability of the software. So now is the Q&A session. So welcome all your questions and welcome to challenge the software, challenge us.
So I've also input in the feedback form link. So if you want to get the trial version, do make sure that you fill up the feedback form. As for the upcoming webinar, the link is also down below. So if you guys are interested in joining in, you can also click on the link as well and participate on the upcoming webinar as well.
I think a lot of questions in the chat box.
Yes.
Like how to get the free trial of software and the pricing of software. For the pricing issue, I wish you can drop me email.
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on.
you can drop email here. Drop email here.
So I'm looking back at some of the questions before. I think there are participants actually asking on the recordings of these meeting. We are actually recording it already. So fret not, we will actually send the recorded recordings to you all if you require it. Okay.
Yeah. Could you expand from uploading or DWG into this software? Alex asked, explain from uploading or DWG to this software. I didn't get this point clear. Yeah. In fact, Cubicles software can import open all DWG software, including the vector PDF. Because Autodesk is also our strategic technical partner. So like Revit file, like CAD file can smoothly compatible with Cubicles. Can we import TS model in this version of TME? Pre-plan ask this question. So TS modeling is for architecture and structure. TME is for the MEP modeling. In future, I think in future, maybe later this year or early next year, so TS modeling will be imported into TSC. So until then we can check in one BIM modeling, including the architecture, structure, and also the MEP or the MEP inside. Hongwei, QR code is not working for me. Is there a link instead of QR code?
I think they've attached a link in the chat box, so maybe you can click on that. However, I did receive some participants stating that the URL for the upcoming webinar is not working. Give me a second here.
Yeah, I think Hongwei, you can use the original link I shared with you.
Okay, no problem. I'll just use the original link instead. Although it will be a bit long.
But anyway, don't worry about QR code issue because all of you will get a feedback email from outside. So we will share you all the links again, including the link for the record video today, and including the link for the new webinar, and including the trial license.
Okay, I think there's a lot of questions in regards on the software in detail, like what about revision of the drawings and models, and there's also show the quantities and details. They want to know the different types of equipment. Just want to be sure that because this live meeting is actually quite short, so due to time constraint, we are not able to cover too much of the features. However, after you have get the trial license, you can actually ask questions and send in the emails, and we'll be here to assist to you and explain to you further. So do not worry about that. So right now, more of the questions that we will be answering is more towards the less technical part. It will be better. Yes. So to get the trial license, you just need to fill in the feedback form in the chat box, and we will then send you an email on the trial license part on how do you activate the license and how to use it.
Ms. Mesh asked, without designing 3D, can we calculate the quantity and make reports? In fact, how to see? Because we are the 5D BIM software, so we are using the logic is we try to get a BIM modeling, because once the BIM modeling is done, then the software can understand the relationship of different elements, different modules. Then behind the software, we have embedded calculation rules. So based on that, we can get the exact report, and also it is because 5D BIM, it is the visualized result, so easy for us for double check.
What
do you have
values?
any? Yeah.
I think there's one question stating that what values does Cubicles will add to Revit software? Actually, this should be the other way around. How does Revit software can add value to Cubicles? Because Cubicles software is actually capable in importing Revit models, but Cubicles is able to generate quantities. However, Revit is not able to calculate the quantities much accurate due to the not embedded measurement rule. So Cubicles has our own embedded measurement rule for different software. So in terms of the accuracy and modeling, it is much better than Revit actually. And to master the software for Cubicles, it is much faster as compared to Revit as well. Are you going to provide a student version for undergraduate? We do not have a student version for the software, but we do provide the software for undergraduates. Actually, in countries like Malaysia, Singapore, there are already students or university students is currently adopting our software as part of their education course. So definitely we can provide these software to undergraduate as well. Provide the email ID to share the list of queries. If you have any queries, maybe you can send into the email, which is bd.global@global.gloden.com. All right, let me just. I hope I answered the question for Boudica.
I think I can answer these questions. We also can use Revit or BIM measure to extract quantities. What is the advantage of our software? In fact, this is a quite good question. A lot of people say, okay, I can use Revit because the modeling is there. So Revit can get the volume. But the thing is, Revit quantity is very limited. Mainly is volume. There is no formwork. And also Revit, because this is design purpose software. So in Revit, there's a lot, how to see, we in our QS purpose, we call it point of view. We think it is errors, like the overlapping or the elements. So, and also there are no right calculation rules in Revit. So the Revit model quantity you extracted is not very suitable for the QS purpose. So the most suitable way is you import your Revit modeling into Cubicles TSC, Cubicle TSC. Then Cubicles will be adjust the modeling automatically to make sure there are no overlapping of the modeling, and then calculate based on the embedded calculation rules, then generate a report. So that's why a lot of BIM centers, they already have Revit. So they will buy Cubicles for the collaboration, for the class purpose.
How many design analysis software have been synchronized with TS or TRB for easy input export? So it's actually quite synchronized. So once you have created a model in TS, as long everything in terms of the measurement rule, the floor settings, the floor height is all input correctly, we can just immediately input in TRB. We just need to ensure that these informations are correctly so that the synchronize of the software can be done seamlessly. I hope that answered your question, Stephen. We'd love to see how Revit model will work in Cubicles in next webinar. Ashad, definitely in the future, we can conduct these kind of webinars as well to further discuss on how Revit models work in Cubicles. Can Cubicles be used for civil works as well? Rosen, if your civil works are mentioning on the infrastructure side, currently the software would not be able to, because in TAS and TRB is more so on the structural elements like your beam, your concrete walls, your concrete slab. So if your civil works are referring to infrastructures like maybe a bridge or maybe like trains or stuff like that, Cubicles is currently not capable, but in the future, maybe we'll be able to develop these softwares for civil works taking off. Any trial version available? There's no trial version, but if you submit the feedback form to us, we can actually send you a trial license to use this software. So there's no split into full version and trial version. Mr. Budika asked, if we try to get the software for our students, do we have to pay a subscription and how much it will cost? Maybe this one I'll get Frank to answer about this. Frank, maybe on this question. This is from Budika. She's asking on the software for the students. Is it pay for subscription and how much is it cost?
The software for students, normally we provide a special trial license for students. And also we have a lot of training programs in different universities and also different training centers organized by our local partners. So for learning purpose by students, you can drop email. So I will guide you to our suitable program.
Hope that answers your questions. Sanmi is asking, since firefighting and ELV is yet to be incorporated, will this reflect as soon as it is released, or will I need to pay more to have the package if I purchase the package now? I think Frank can answer this as well, I think.
TMEC is a full, is a full integrated platform. So no matter how many modules we added for this platform, the pricing will be the same. No extra charges.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Mr. Sami.
And one more news I want to share is about the firefighting. Firefighting trade will be available in early August. So early August, we will organize another webinar to introduce the new trade.
What is the PC configuration requires? For this one, maybe this one allow me to just in terms of the PC configuration, the requirements of your PC, Actually, it doesn't really need to be extremely high spec. However, the recommended specs, it would be probably 8 to 16 gig of RAMs and maybe using SSD, and definitely need a graphic card of at least of GT, maybe GeForce Nagios series or GTX 1050. If you're familiar with PC specifications, this will be the spec that is recommended to required. Yes.
One more question is about the training program for this software. In fact, after meeting, we will send you the online self-learning video on our OTP, online training platform. And also there's some questions here.
Oh, there's one question. I think this is on I'm not sure it's Miss or Mr. I'm just sorry about that. Aru is asking that does Cubicles automatically generate quantities based on the standard method of measurement? Yes, this definitely.
Maybe I explain this question.
Okay, sure. Frank,
this one for me. In fact, first of all, on the Cubicles, we have different software. The first one is called TS for architecture and structure. For TS, we have a lot of international rules, including POMI, and including SMM7, including AIM2, and including some local calculation rules. Like in India, it is called RS 1200. So for this kind of calculation rules, we can check by which market that you want to use. And second one is about TRB. TRB is for reinforcement bond. For TRB, we embed the calculation rules like British, America, Euro code. And today is for TMEC. For the TMEC, we also have the calculation rules, but TMEC calculation is not so complex. And also for all the calculation rules, you can revise by yourself. Even you can create the calculation rules for your own company. And the question 2, when it comes to estimate, it does involve sensitive information or confidential details. Would this identical by server or by license holder? Okay, for Cubicles, for TS, TRB, and TME, these three software, it is how to say only the license is based on cloud. In fact, all the data is saved locally in your PC. So I think there's no confidential issues here.
Okay.
And the question from Stephen is, I'm not familiar with this software for my modeling, but I want to see if for the BIM software, if other BIM software can support the IFC format. We know IFC is the common format for the BIM modeling. It is like a DWG for 2D drawing. So if you can export IFC, then this modeling can be imported into our software, because we support the import and the export of IFC 4.0, the latest format. I think there's no big issue for the collaboration. Hongwei, I think you can go ahead.
I have one question from the Boudica as well. So how is software going to help in digital twin concept? To be honest, I'm not actually familiar with digital twin concept, but it feels like it's a virtual data, but it's updating in real time. But for TMEC itself, it's actually mostly for quantity, taking off, and modeling only. So if you're saying to sync with actually real time, TMEC is not able to do that if it comes to syncing in real time information. So I hope that answers your questions. Also, I also got some questions as well from participants saying that, is there any franchise opportunities for India for Cubicles? I'm interested for franchise. You can just email to us first and we can further discuss on that, definitely.
Hongwei, one question this side to me is from Arisa is, I would like to measure the pipe EB model. We will show the complete street length without socket joint. How can I quickly to calculate the socket. I think maybe you can show a little bit in
Socket
software.
joint. I think the socket joint is part of the pipe fittings as well. So my pipe fittings will actually be automatically calculated when you generate the quantities report. So the pipe will be calculated and the socket joint will be calculated as well. So you do not need to separate, you do not need to calculate the socket joint separately, as it will be considered when you're doing the pipe. Because whenever you are doing bends or any up and down of the pipes, the pipe fittings will be automatically generated. For pipe connection, TMEC make it automatically. What if you want to change it manually? The pipe connection is actually, because earlier in the scenario, I think I've shown you on the vertical pipe connecting to the equipments automatically, right? So you can actually adjust that as well. You do not need to, it will not really lock in the quantities, but you can actually adjust it accordingly. No worries for that. You can do it manually for sure. Okay, as far as ducting quantity is concerned, what kind of quantity we get from the software? It really depends on what kind of quantity you want to extract. For air duct, usually is quantified in length, and maybe if that's insulation as well, it will be also taken into consideration if you input in the attribute. So I hope that answers your questions, Ramanand.
And one question is, does the software automatically generate the quantities? Of course, for all Cubicles softwares is, in fact, the logic is we just focus on the modeling. When the modeling is done, one click, calculate, then the software will be automatically generate the quantity report based on the rules. So this is our unique technology in Cubicles.
Can we get plate quantity of ducting? Plate quantity of ducting. As mentioned before, because like the installation area, we have the necessary attribute. So if you did not input any attribute into the attribute editor over there, the quantities will not be formed. So similar to plate as well. So plate, you would just need to input the attribute and the quantities will be calculated automatically.
And one question from Assam, for pipe connection TMEC, make it automatically. So what if I want to change it manually? In fact, it is very flexible. The software is very flexible. So you can change the modeling as you like. And also for the MEP drawings, I want to say a lot of MEP drawings is incomplete, especially during the tender period. So TMEC is not only for the auto identification, but also can support the further design of our MEP drawings. We can support the further design. So you can draw a new piping, a new equipment very easily, very flexible.
I'm getting another question. Sorry. Can we extract the 3D model in AutoCAD format? If you're referring to the drawing in AutoCAD format, you can generate the 3D models out by drawing the models in the Cubicles software. So I hope that answers your questions. There are actually quite a number of questions. Maybe I've missed out some as well. Let me just look back and just have a look real quick. I think maybe we're just gonna take in maybe another 1 or 2 more questions, and probably we'll just wrap this session up. Is it possible to upload PDF drawings and generate 3D model? Yes, definitely. As I've shown you earlier in the scenario, maybe you join later, but it's okay. But the software is capable in importing PDF drawings and generate 3D models. Can I read Revit drawings? Revit drawings is usually in the, you mean the Revit model, right?
Morgan, nice to see you here.
Yes, you can import the Revit models into the Cubicles software. Definitely, no worries on that.
So it's possible to upload the PDF drawing and generate see the
Yes.
model.
So once again, if to into TMEC, Revit models into TMEC. In TMEC, this one, because, okay, you have to understand, TMEC is for mechanical and electrical plumbing works. So at the current moment, we cannot actually import TAS model into TMEC as well, because due to the development progress. So in the future, we'll definitely be able to do that. So as for Revit models in TMEC, we're still not able to import it as well. But in the future, we'll be able to develop that and import the models into TMEC.
And also I want to explain this part is, TMEC today is our second generation, the 5D BIM for MEP. In fact, in 2016, we have the first generation, that is called the TME Delphi. For that version, we developed a lot of functions there, including the import of the Revit file and also the IFC. And in late 2019, we redeveloped the second generation. So all the functions will be available soon in the new platform.
Okay, I'll just take in one more question. So Ramana is asking, can this software covers the Indian standard or Indian material standard, I would say? Yes, we definitely have Indian standard measurement rule in our software, but that is for our TAS. For TMEC, I actually believe that there isn't there's only a standard measurement rule in TM when it comes to calculating mechanical and electrical plumbing works. But for TS part, definitely we have the necessary measurement rule for Indian market. So I hope that answers your questions. I can see some participants has left earlier already. But be sure to, so for those that still are here, maybe you can just fill up the feedback form and we will then get back to you on the trial license. Just a reminder. And if you need to join the upcoming webinar where we'll discuss more on the TAS and TBQ, we can also click on the link above. I'll just send it again over here so that we can see it again.
Used to.
Can TMEC be used to determine the sizes of associated equipment like distribution blocks, low voltage panels, and the rest after design? Used to determine the sizes of associated equipment. Yes, you can actually adjust it in the attribute, so no worries on that. Our rule is asking how much accuracy. Now, the accuracy itself, it really depends on the drawings information and the drawing information that you receive. But if everything checks out in terms of drawings, the accuracy can comes up to close to 98%. This is based on the sample size that we have done on the existing client. So in terms of accuracy, it's actually much accurate as compared to your manual takeoff method, as usually human is much more error prone and tend to miss out things when it comes to taking off quantities as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will eager to know the example for material quantity output next time. Or can you by email? You can send in the queries and the in the email bd@global.com, and we'll get back to you on that as well. Thank you, thank you. All right. Okay. What are the minimum requirements to run this smoothly? So I mentioned this before. So the minimum requirements will be 8 gigs of RAM and definitely have the graphic cards of maybe GeForce 900 series and above, and have probably a good processor about maybe about i5 or 7th gen and above for Intel. Yes, but definitely you must have a graphic card since this is running a model-based software. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Look forward to the next webinar. Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
So finally, I recommend all of us can register our online training platform, and in our training platform, we have all the training videos about TS, TRB, and TME. So you can go through all the learning program and even get a certification to know the software well. Because during the webinar, we only can highlight some scenario, and we cannot go very detailed. So I think in the learning program, it will be more suitable for all of us to know the detailed functions. Hello, pre-plan. Hello, pre-plan.
Yeah, saying hello. Mr. Preplan is saying hello in the chat box. Does the trial versions are fully functional? Yes, it's fully functional. We did not split the software into full version or trial version. It's fully functional. So the trial license will definitely be able to use the full function of TMEC. So no worries about that.
Pre-plan, I think you are familiar with TME for several years. Maybe you can share your comments if you want.
Just to cut off just before that, how much does it cost for the online training program? The online training program at the moment will be free for all of you for the trial license period. So no worries about that. And we have so more questions. Since firefighting and ERV, oh, this is from Mr. Sanmi. So like mentioned before, there would not be any cost adjustment if there are any updates on fire or ERV. So it was going to be a one-time. If you purchase now, the price would never change, even the fire and ERV comes up in the future.
And the release and update of the software will be automatically. When there is a new update, then the software will remind you to update, like our apps in the mobile. It will be automatic. Oh,
you muted me.
Sorry. How to?
Hello, Frank.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Preplan is here.
Yeah, Preplan.
Yeah, thank you,
Mr. Preplan.
Frank. Actually, yeah, thank you, Mr. Hang. It's great to see the software. Actually, the newer version of the software. Really, the features are very good. Maybe. Definitely, actually, when we compare to the even the earlier version was also the excellent version. Maybe all those features, if it comes into this software, definitely it will be more helpful to the complete MEP industry. Mainly, actually, the older version, we were able to import the task model to directly here, and we were able to see the clashes and all the MEP services. It was an excellent version of the software. Actually, really, I'm really happy with even the older version of Delphi version of the MEP software. So when you bring all those features into the latest technology, definitely this software will help to all the MEP services industry, no doubt at all. So what is my expectation is soon you have to implement all those older version features into the current version. That is my expectation. So when it comes with the latest version, then definitely nobody can challenge the MEP software of your TME, Cubicles TME. So no doubt at all with that.
Thank you, Preplan. Really nice to hear that.
So after a long time, actually, we are meeting. But definitely, you need to bring all the older features of Delphi versions into the latest technology.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Frank and Mr. Ang.
Hey, no worries.
Thank you.
Thank you all for taking your time to actually join this session. Thank you so much. I really hope you all learned something from this session.
Definitely, it's very much helpful actually for the MEP services. The reports and all automatically it is generating the complete quantities with a more accurate results. Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I think that kind of wraps up our session for today. So if you guys want to stay and just kind of mingle with each other, you know, maybe you can just unmute and just show your webcam and just kind of talk to each other. No worries for that.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you. Hong-Wei, I think that's all for today. I think, anyway, all of you, we will keep contact by email after this meeting. So all the materials and links we will send to you. So I wish all of you can be really active with the learning and trial of software. And also, if you want, we can arrange a meeting with the team by Gloden or by our local partners anytime as you like. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I'll see you all next
Bye.
time. Goodbye. Goodbye.